Hi everyone, it's Plastic EP here. It's 8 o'clock at night in Melbourne, and we're doing a special interview. It's a worldwide exclusive from Liverpool, and there you are, David Bedford. Come in, David, from Liverpool. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, mate. I'm good. How are things down under?
Well, we're still in curfew, but let me tell me this. I want you to introduce our two fantastic guests. Come on.
Absolutely. Well, here, my good friends, Charlie Roberts and his wife, Sandy. Hello. There you go.
Charlie, how are you, and how are you, Sandy?
We're both fine, thanks, Plastic.
Fine, thank you.
Beautiful. Just call me Plastic. Now, you're famous for two things, Charlie. In 1958, in the Cavern Club, what happened?
Well, I met Sandy and we started going out together, and eventually we got married. So tomorrow is our 59th anniversary.
Congratulations from everybody around the world, Charlie. And let me tell you this. You both look young. I got to say that. You look beautiful and young there in Liverpool, all right?
We're not. It's like rigor mortis of a morning.
He said it's like rigor mortis in the morning.
Is it like rigor mortis in the morning? Is it okay? Now listen, tell me this, Charlie. On a serious note, what happened in 1957? You borrowed your mother's camera and you went out the street and you took photos. Who did you take photos of? I just got to get you to move a little bit more to Sandy. Move a little bit more to Sandy. That's it. Now I got you in the camera. All right. What happened in 1957 when you borrowed your mum's camera? Tell us what happened.
It wasn't my mum's camera. Somebody lent me a camera. I don't know who it was, but it wasn't my mum's. We didn't have the camera.
Okay.
My mum organised a street party along with me on the 22nd of June, 1957. And luckily, I took some photographs. We took a lot more photographs, but we lost them at the chemist. The chemist lost the whole reel on us, and we never recovered them. So the only photographs remaining are the three that I have now. Showing them some.
And these are the photographs.
That's the main one, which we have signed by the remaining Quarrymen. Rod Davis, Len Gary.
That's it. We'll bring that a little bit closer to the camera there if you can, David, if you can bring it in. That's it. I can say stop. Up a bit. Fantastic. Hold it there. And who signed it? Everybody.
Len Gary, Colin Hanson, Rod Davis, and myself.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, David. You're doing a great job there. Perfect. Thank you. Now, Charlie, just tell me what it was like on that day. Replay everything through your mind.
Well, it's all a bit of a blur now, so long after, but I can always remember it was a nice, hot, sunny day. There were quite a few people there, obviously. And when the band came on, when John and the lads came on the back of the flat back wagon to play, once they started playing, people in the surrounding streets heard the noise, and it attracted an awful lot of people, and the street was really crowded. See, remember in those days, there wasn't the traffic pollution. There was no noise hardly in the streets. There weren't big wagons and cars flying around. I think in our street, we only had one car in those days. So everywhere was fairly quiet until the band started, and everybody in the area could hear it. And so they came along to see what was going on.
How did they sound like on the truck? Was the music good?
Well, to us, it was good. But with hindsight, it was rubbish. And the Quarrymen will tell you that themselves.
How old was John then?
John would be about 16, I think. I'm a year older than John. Okay. I'm on October the 5th. John's October the 9th.
Can I also ask you,
pardon?
Did you go to school with John as well?
No. I didn't know John until the teens, till I met Colin Hanson.
Okay. I just got to ask, do you know Michael A. Hill?
No.
Okay. He went to school with him too, at the primary school. He lives in Melbourne now.
Oh, I see. No, you see what? It was strange, really, because I went to the Liverpool Junior School of Art.
Okay.
When I was 13 until I was 15, and I didn't stay on. I wanted to go to work to earn some money. Got it. If I'd have stayed on, I would have met John because he went to the senior school.
Gotcha.
Across the road. So I never knew him at art school even.
After you took the photographs, though, did you come across John again?
Oh,
Did you
yeah.
meet up with him at all with the Quarrymen?
I used to knock around with them for 2 or 3 years when they were the Quarrymen. But once they became famous and world famous, I lost touch with them. I'm still in touch with Colin and Rod and Lane Gary. I still see them regular because they live local.
Of course.
But yeah, I used to see John quite often.
Can I ask you what it was like in 1964 when the Beatles came back for the movie A Hard Day's Night in Liverpool?
I worked in the Odeon
Strange
cinema.
enough, Sandy worked in the Odeon cinema where he was on.
There you go. Sandy, you're the perfect candidate for the question.
Yeah. Well, Sandy worked there in the Odeon.
I worked in the Odeon cinema, and they came to play on the stage. So my sister seated them in the seats because she worked there as well. And then I had to go backstage to chase all the girls away because all the girls had run backstage. And John Lennon said, "Oh, there's Robbo's wife. That's me."
So you took them upstairs, didn't you?
Yeah. So
did they actually play live in the cinema, or was it the movie that played?
they played the movie, but they all went on stage.
Oh, okay. Can you describe that to me, please?
They all went on stage, and the screams out of the girls were unbelievable. You couldn't hear yourself. It was just amazing the way they were all screaming.
They only went on stage to say thank you.
But they only went on stage to say thank you to the audience before the film. So,
see, I've never heard that story, Sandy. That's new to me. I've never heard that story. So you've got to tell everybody that doesn't know what happened on that day, because it's very important. Did you, when they went to say thank you for everyone, did they stay and watch the whole movie, or they went out?
Yeah.
No, they stayed and watched the whole movie themselves. They came back to their seats. I had to take them back to their seats and put them in their seats. But my sister seated them in the beginning because they all sat down in the seats, and then they were told to get up and go down to the front, right down to the front, and go on stage and say thank you to everybody for coming. And then they all bowed, and they all done a little bit.
Then you get seated upstairs.
And then they come back after that to be seated back upstairs in the circle.
Were they sitting up in a balcony?
Yeah, in the front.
Yeah.
In the front.
And what, were their parents and everyone there with them?
No, their girlfriends were.
Okay.
They each had a girlfriend.
Who was their girlfriends at the time? You remember?
I can't remember, but I remember Cynthia being there with John. And I remember a blonde girl. I think it was Patty Boyd at the time, with one of the others, but I can't remember. But it was so mad that night, because when I went to go into the cinema as an usherette to go in, there was thousands in the street, and I couldn't get near the cinema, and I was supposed to be going in, and the police had to escort me into the cinema because I had to go up to a policeman and say, I need to get in, I work there, I'm not a fan as such as all these girls screaming, I need to get in the cinema to work. So they had to escort me in because there was hundreds and hundreds of girls and men, and it was just mad. It was screaming.
How many people do you think was out in the street? All of Liverpool?
All of Liverpool, I think.
Yeah. I'm wondering how many.
About 200,000.
That's what they reckon, wasn't it?
That's what they reckon.
What, 200,000 people in the street?
Yeah.
Everybody in Liverpool was outside the cinema who couldn't go inside. Is that right?
Yeah.
Did anybody take photos? Did they take photos and put it in the town hall?
I think the Echo took photographs at the time. The Liverpool Echo, yeah.
That's fascinating. And I think the mayor at the time, he was, what was his name? Do you remember?
No.
I can't remember. No.
Doesn't matter. There's a picture of him on the balcony with the Beatles at the town hall, I think.
Yeah.
And if you've got a copy of the first edition of Liverpool, on the front cover is the picture on the balcony.
Can I ask you now? I just want to test my knowledge. You there, David?
Go on.
Did the mayor have a mustache?
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. I've seen the photo. How great is that? Is that knowledge right there or not?
I think it was Cohen, his name.
So what's the book they have to get, David? Tell me. That covers everything about that time.
Yes, so Liverpool is all about the Beatles and Liverpool. So it's biographies of the main four of them, but it's interviews with all the people like the Quarrymen, Alan Williams, Pete Best, tour guide of all around Liverpool, walking tours.
So what, you weren't born when this happened? What, you weren't born till 65?
I was 65, yeah.
So you missed the big event in Liverpool?
I missed absolutely everything.
That's
absolutely
unbelievable.
Everything.
Now listen, where can they get the book before I go back to Charles? Where can they get that book?
You can just go on to BeatlesBookstore.com and get all of our books on there. Loads of stuff. Now. Yeah, it's now in its 3rd edition, so it's got a different cover now.
Fantastic.
With, Beatles statues on.
Thank you.
Anyway, back to Charlie.
Thank you. Now listen, I just want to ask you guys, we know on October the 9th, John Lennon's birthday, they've got a very big event happening in America. It's called Remember Lennon, Imagine 80. It's going to be a virtual concert celebrating John Lennon's life, right? And I know that you said something about it, but now in retrospect, I'm just saying both of you, if you had to give a message to John on, let's say, his birthday, could you just say a few words to John as if you were talking to John?
Yeah. Happy birthday, John. We've grown old together.
And you, Charlie, if you could say a few words.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, obviously, we all wish he was still here, but we've got our memories and we've got all his music to keep us all going. And I'm sure it'll be a good day at the virtual fest.
Yep, as I said. But now going back to 64 now, because you've really got me thinking, Sandy. Yeah. Everyone knew that the movie was going to play in advance. So when did the hype start that you knew the Beatles were coming to Liverpool to the premiere of the movie? Did you know a week before or a month before? When did you know about it?
No, a week before we knew, but we didn't know there was going to be so many people. We just thought to be just coming in and that'll be it. We didn't expect all that in the street, because if the boss would have known, Mr. Dracos at the time would have known all those thousands of people would have been in the streets and I couldn't get in the cinema. It took me nearly an hour to get in, and they were going mad because some of the staff were in and some of the staff weren't, and they were panicking, running around trying to find who was in and who wasn't in and where were they. And in them days, we didn't have phones, so you couldn't phone and say, where are you? And say, I'm outside, because we didn't have phones in them days.
But to us, when the Beatles came to Liverpool, to me and Sandy, it was no big deal because we knew them.
I understand. Yeah.
So we just, I don't know, we didn't take them for granted, but it didn't excite us as much as the people who didn't know them, if I explain that properly.
Because people say to us now, why didn't you get their autographs? And we say, well, why would we have got their autographs? Because we were only children and they were only children. We weren't the teenagers. They weren't anybody. They weren't famous.
Yeah, when they were the Quarrymen.
When we knew them.
When they were the Quarrymen, they play anywhere for nothing or for a few drinks. Yeah. So
isn't it amazing how you knew them and they're your friends? And that's why you didn't make a big deal about it, because they were your friends.
Yeah, so we never told anybody. It's only when David wrote his first book and he came and asked Charles could he borrow the photograph for his book that David said about us in the beginning. You know, why haven't you ever mentioned that you've known the Beatles?
Well, we did mention it now and again, and they've been published in other books, but we never made a big issue of it. And it was partly because when I was younger, everybody used to say they knew the Beatles and they knew John Lennon. And of course they didn't. I think what they thought or they meant was they'd seen them that many times on the Cavern. They thought they knew them as friends.
But we were friends.
So I just thought if I start telling people I knew John, they'll all go, oh, it's another one.
Exactly. Now, Sandy, can I ask you?
Yeah.
Were you at the Odeon when they played A Hard Day's Night and when they played Yellow Submarine?
Yeah.
What was that like? In comparison, the Beatles didn't come back for those premieres, did they?
No. They just played. Yeah. Everything was just, hype in them days. It was just, they were there and that was it,
Well, they were the biggest thing in the world. That's what it was. And when they came back home, that was their homecoming to come back to their place, their birthplace.
I know. Yeah. And I don't think they expected as many when they went on the town hall as well. When they were there on the balcony in the town hall, I don't think they expected so many people to come and see them.
But can I say, when they came to Melbourne in 1964, they went to South Australia, Adelaide, and 300,000 people, 300,000 came out on the street to see them when they arrived. Yep.
Oh. Yeah. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. That is unbelievable. Back then, pre-internet, pre-anything, they were the biggest thing in the world. That's what it was.
They were. Yeah, they were.
If Ivan Vaughan hadn't introduced Paul to John, things would have been a lot different. But immediately when Paul joined up with the Quarrymen, you could see there was a gradual change happening. They were sort of becoming more dedicated and more concerned over the quality of the stuff they were trying to produce. It definitely paid the band up.
With Paul and John, I'm just saying, were you more friendly with John than Paul or with both?
No, more with John because I knew John longer. I didn't know Paul for that long because he didn't join the Quarrymen, I think, till about 58, was it? End of 58?
57.
57, 58, but I was with John a lot longer than I was with Paul, if you know what I mean.
Can I ask you, Sandy, working at the theatre there, you must have known all the artists from the 60s like Cilla Black, Jerry and the Pacemakers, Jerry Marsden. I mean, you knew all those people?
Yeah, because Cilla Black was behind the cloakroom. She was in the cloakroom when I was there in the cavern. And she used to go, come and get your coats, because she was waiting to go home. And we were the last ones to go.
And her name was Cilla White then, wasn't it?
It was Cilla White, yeah.
And then she changed it to Cilla Black. When did she do that? In 64?
Oh, I don't know that. Probably was.
About 64, yeah.
Must have been after she was signed up by Brian. That must have been her name.
Yeah.
We didn't know a lot of the bands, but we got to meet a lot of them because, as you know, the cavern is only one way in.
Yeah, of course.
Had to come in, walk through the crowd to get to the stage. There was a little side room at the end of the side of the stage, and they'd go in there. And quite often you could have a talk to them, but it's very hard because of the noise. Terrific noise with the bands playing. But we did get to speak to a lot of bands over the years, but we didn't know them as friends. We got to know Cilla quite well to talk to, but only to talk to when we were in the cavern. We didn't see her outside.
I got to say, I was fortunate enough to do a recent interview with Ray Ennis.
From
Sweet Blue Jeans. I love the guy.
Yeah, well, I was in the cavern then. Yeah.
I introduced John Lennon to Norman Culk in about 1957. Not sure of the dates, but they'd never met before. And we used to go to a dancing school. Not that we could dance, we just should go see what girls were there and see what music they played in the intervals, because they used to play all the latest American stuff there. And I introduced John, as I say, to Norman Culk one night, and they got on well.
And he was in the blue jeans.
I got to ask you, Charlie, did you write a book?
Sorry, did I? I didn't. Oh, yeah, there's my book there.
Yeah, I got to see the book. Give the book to David.
Right. It's on David's site as well, I think, isn't it, David?
He's doing a good job today.
Yeah.
It's about time.
Now, can you go through the book for me there, David? Please do your synopsis.
Okay.
What's the title?
The title is Just Like Starting Over.
Right.
John and the Quarrymen, My Teenage Years.
Yep, and give us a look at the bottom part. Bring it in. Yeah, that's good. I can see that. Yep. Tell us about the book.
this good-looking young chap here.
Yep.
This is Charlie at the street
There
party.
he is behind you.
At 57.
And
Advertising the poster.
now the poster that's there, you can see it there.
It's on the wall, is it? Unbelievable.
And Charlie and I spent ages with a magnifying glass from the original photo trying to work out what it said.
Unbelievable.
We got there eventually. So and then just some of the other pickies. The photos on the back.
That's fine. So just tell me about the poster. The one he's got behind. Is that the actual poster or it's a reprint?
That's a reprint.
Okay, good.
After it.
What's it say, David?
Yeah, okay. So we've got street party for commencing 4 p.m. Saturday, June 22nd. So it's 1957. This was Liverpool's 750th birthday. That's what they were celebrating. So we've got races, records, fancy dress, songs, lucky dip, dancing, prizes, games, special attraction, 5 p.m. Quarrymen skiffle group.
Unbelievable.
Great, isn't it?
This has got to be the scoop of the year. You agree, David?
Yeah, that's fabulous. It's such a great story, and I nagged Charlie for ages to write his book.
Now, where can I get the book from, David?
If you come on to BeatlesBookstore.com.
I want everybody out there in the world to buy that book.
Yeah, there's a second edition coming out very, very soon.
When's that coming out, David?
For Christmas, maybe.
Yeah, it should be out for Christmas.
Okay. So you want them to hold on to their money for the second edition?
They could do, because there's not many of the first edition left.
Okay.
It's great. There's loads of photos in.
They're sold in Strawberry Fields, aren't they?
Yeah, it's a lot, because it's been sold up at Strawberry Field.
Oh, that's fantastic. You got the book in there.
Yeah, it's loads of photos. Some amazing stories.
Now, listen, can I ask you something, David?
Yeah.
When you do your virtual tours, do you go past Charlie's house for a coffee?
Oh, on the actual tours, we've done that. On the actual tours, we've popped in here a couple of times, got an open invitation. So they're always very hospitable. Oh, very hospitable indeed.
I got to say, they're two of the nicest people I've ever met in my life, Charlie. And I'll tell you what, I really appreciate you coming in. And you know what? It's like, isn't it amazing how in 2020, we look back at 1957 and you just nailed it. You said everything we need to know about 1957 as if we were there.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having us. Have you seen our T-shirts on Saturday?
Now, can you show me the T-shirt? Let's zoom in. Yeah, what do we got? What's it say, David?
Quarrymen. John Lennon's Quarrymen.
Fantastic.
Obviously, I'm letting Charlie get close to his wife's chest. I'm not doing that, okay?
Okay, but may I also say, you know, that's a scoop there that Sandy worked at the Odeon, and we just got the insight of what it was like in 1964, Beatlemania in their hometown in Liverpool. And I did not know that there was 200,000 people outside the street. And I did not know that the Beatles went on stage to say thank you to Liverpool. How amazing is that?
Yeah. And Charles went to a party when he was younger with John Lennon and Paul McCartney, and tell him what happened.
Which party was this?
The party where they
Yeah, just move the screen up a little bit, David.
Well, some of these stories are in my book, but one of them was we got invited to a party in Ford, a place called Ford outside of Liverpool, and there's supposed to be all sorts of drink available, so we all went. They didn't get paid, but when we got there, nobody bothered playing because they started drinking and the music was okay. Now, in the early hours of the morning, when it was dying down about 3 o'clock, I think it was, nobody had any cigarettes left. We all used to smoke heavy in those days. And we used to have cigarette machines in Liverpool. I don't know if they have them over there on the doors of shops. You could put your money in a packet of cigarettes that come out. So John and Paul decided to go and look for a machine. It was an area we hadn't been to before. Anyway, they came back a while later. They couldn't find a machine, but they had a cocky watchman's lantern, a red lantern. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Council lantern from the streets. I know the ones. We used to have them here.
The council, yeah.
Yeah, they took a hole in the road, so they put a red light there in the dark. So they brought one of them home. And in the morning...
David, can you just lift the screen a little bit higher? That's it. Now we've got perfection there. And Sandy, just come a little bit closer to your husband.
Okay.
That's it. Now we got you perfect. Look at that. Happy anniversary for tomorrow, which you said is how many years?
59. 60 next
59
year.
years old. All right.
If God spares us, 60 next year.
So you can come to the
I think you'll be right. All I want to say is, from the bottom of my heart, from all the Beatle fans in the world, thank you so much, Charlie Roberts. Thank you so much, Sandy Roberts. Thank you for bringing us into your home and telling us a fantastic story. Thanks again. Thank you, David.
Nice plastic.
See ya. See you, David.
See you, mate. Take care.
Love you, man. Bye. See ya.